And now. Good afternoon and welcome to Working Wednesday. My name is Mary Jo Williams and I will be the facilitator moderator for today's session. And our presenter will be Mr. Greg Kopach, a business counselor at the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center for this webinar, Starting Your Business in the U.S. Virgin Islands. But before we begin, let me share a little bit of information with you about the VI SBDC. It will be two brief commercials, one in English and one in Spanish.
Has your business been affected by COVID-19? The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is available to assist entrepreneurs and small businesses in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The VI SBDC is sustained by the University of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Small Business Administration and collaborates with local agencies to support the small business community. The VI SBDC is nationally accredited and provides free consulting, business education training, and technical assistance. Attend workshops with subject matter experts from both the public and private sector. From idea generation to exit strategies, the staff at the VI SBDC is ready to assist you. Now is the time to contact them if you need assistance with the Federal Paycheck Protection Program, so don't wait. Call or email them to find out how they can help your business grow and succeed.
¿Su negocio ha sido afectado por COVID-19? El Centro de Desarrollo de Pequeñas Empresas está disponible para ayudar a los empresarios en las Islas Vírgenes de los Estados Unidos. El VISBDC es sostenido por la Universidad de las Islas Vírgenes y la Administración de Pequeñas Empresas de los Estados Unidos para apoyar a la comunidad de negocios pequeños. El VISBDC está acreditado a nivel nacional y ofrece consultoría gratuita, educación empresarial y asistencia técnica. Asiste a talleres con expertos en la materia, tanto del sector público como del privado. Desde generaciones de ideas hasta estrategia de salida, el personal del VISBDC está listo para ayudarlo. Ahora es el momento de contactarlos si necesita ayuda con el Programa Federal de Protección de Pago, ya que esta oportunidad de financiamiento está programada para finalizar el 31 de mayo del 2021. Llame o envíe un correo electrónico para averiguar cómo puede ayudar a que su negocio crezca y tenga éxito.
Okay, we will ask Mr. Kopach to go ahead and share his screen while I give a brief introduction. Greg Kopach is a business counselor at the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center. He has been with us for a few years now, and he's going to be our presenter today for starting a business in the Virgin Islands. He's a veteran of the U.S. military. He has, almost 2 decades worth of experience with the SCORE program. He's been a counselor for the SBDC. He's a serial entrepreneur. So without any further delay, I will give you Mr. Greg Kopach as our presenter. Greg, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mary Jo. I'm actually struggling a little bit trying to locate that PowerPoint presentation. During our rehearsal, we had it up. Just give me 1 minute, please.
While we're waiting for Greg Kopach to bring up his screen, you guys can put your questions in the chat and we will answer those at the end of the presentation. This session is being recorded live on Facebook, and we're also recording so that we can post it on our YouTube page so you can refer back to it. And we will share a copy of the presentation after the webinar is over. All right.
Thanks, Mary Jo. Stay tuned. We're getting very close here.
All righty. Well, while we're waiting, I will share a couple of poll questions with you guys. So if you can answer this first question, and that question is, where are you located? Are you on St. Croix, St. John, St. Thomas, Water Island, Puerto Rico, or other? Now, the folks that are joining us on Facebook, you cannot answer that question, but you could put it in the chat, I guess. And Mr. Kopach will be beginning momentarily. All right, I'm going to end the poll now. And of the people responding to the poll, 100% of the people are from St. Thomas. Woohoo!
Interesting. Thank you, Mary Jo.
Okay.
I'm still seeing your poll. May I start? There we go. We're clear. All right. Welcome, everyone. Appreciate you coming out today. Sorry if you had any difficulty registering. This is one of many of our webinar series. This is the business development portion of our, call it our COVID curriculum. Specifically, the topic today, starting your business in the Virgin Islands, okay? Listed some phone numbers and some emails and websites in front of you. Want to just make a small caution note. We are in the process of transferring our phone lines over in both offices. You may have better luck if you send an email to that info address and simply, let us know where you are, specifically what your needs are, and we'll ensure that a counselor gets out to make contact with you. Okay. All right. Now we'll start, before we get into the whole thing, let's talk a little bit about what the SBDC does and doesn't do. We're not the SBA. We're not a bank. We're an offshoot of the SBA. We fall under the auspices of the SBA. This is one of 1,000 SBDC networks around the country. We are hosted by the University of the Virgin Islands, and that's the way the SBDC operates. With those 1,000 networks back there on the mainland and in the territories, we have an SBA federal sponsor and a local host that's a university or an institution of higher learning or whatever. Most of our deliverables are free. Certainly the one-on-one advising is free. A lot of our trainings are free. Once in a while, we'll get into a very detailed subject, a lengthy webinar where we will charge a price. We actually have a very, very good and thorough business plan next level course coming out. I want to say that starts 12 May. Okay. The objective of today, okay, and I think this is really important because when we think about starting a business, there's just a lot of questions. I mean, there really are just a lot of questions to think through, okay? A lot of the questions are going to be the same. Whether you're starting a convenience store business or you're opening up a retail dress shop, okay, or a food truck, a mobile food operation, okay? We're going to go through 10 of the most important ones, okay? And I'm going to go through these. These are the first 5. I'm going to let you just read through those. You're going to see this list again, and then we're going to go individually into these things. Okay, but you can see that these questions get you to think. They actually get you to think of other questions, as they should. First 5, last 5. Look at that number 6. It's not one of these things, if you build it, they come. We have to market our products and services, okay? Finances. Look at number 8. We'll talk a little bit more about that one as well. Okay, so now we go through individually. What does it take to operate a business? Well, there's that long list of items there. I was in a business seminar once, one of the first ones, and the person in the front of the room said, in terms of, intellect, you just need to have a fourth grade education. You just need to know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And a lot of that's true. As you get into business, there are some very, very thorough and intricate type math that you could even imagine. But really, you just need to know what is coming in terms of money and what is going out. Okay, and those types of events touch everything from cash flow sheets to income statements to balance sheets. You see, everything is interconnected in business. Every time something happens in a business, it affects, it rings throughout the business. Let's say you get a loan to start a business. That affects your cash flow statement immediately. It will affect your income statement, and it will certainly affect your balance sheet. By the way, we have an upcoming seminar on financial statements coming up. And we'll talk about that at the end of this webinar. But look at some of those questions. Can I maintain motivation? Can I work alone? They get you to think. They just get you to think. Okay, are you willing to take the risk? Okay, we always ask when someone comes into our office who wants to start a new business, why? What is it that got you to call us to request assistance? Why do you want to do it? And we think you should really, really give it some thought. Okay. Look at the second one here. These things are designed to kind of help you narrow down some choices, maybe. If you're just starting in the process of wanting to start a business, certainly you want to look at things that you like to do and that you're good at. A lot of times we're faced with the question at whatever particular stage we are in life starting a business, is this the time I want to learn all new things? May or may not be that time. There's certainly other options to fill those voids. One of the things about these questions are, yeah, you really have to be honest with yourself why you want to start a business. And then once you're honest with yourself, we want you to be honest with us at the SBDC. Yes, we're business developers. Yes, we've done a lot of different crazy things in business. And yes, we've also, when folks are honest with us and they say, I already have a job. I just want another income stream because of this reason or that reason or something's going on. So it's important we ask that you be honest and transparent with us as to why you want to get into business. Sometimes it's very disheartening, having done this for a long time, knowing that a client comes in with brilliant ideas, a lot of motivation, you assist them, they get up and running, and either motivation, flails off or whatever. It's important to keep checking in with yourself as the business owner. Okay. Do I still have what it takes? Okay. Look, being in business, I don't care if you want it for a second job or you want to take this business and hit the biggest grand slam that this territory has ever seen. Both of those are possible. Both of them are possible. You just have to decide what you want, what you will need, and do you have what it takes? Okay. As far as what solutions do I provide, all those things, we drive around every day and get good ideas about businesses. okay? As well we should. But we have to think about it a little bit more. And when we get to the planning phase, we're going to take that thinking concept and run it through a feasibility study. That's the part of a business plan. We're going to see if it makes sense. Okay, we're going to look at the market. Will this get me what I am trying to achieve? Okay, if it does, let's move forward. If it doesn't, let's not. It's not accomplishing your objective. Okay? By the way, there is no shortage of entrepreneurial ideas and spirit in this territory. There isn't. We hear them every day. It's exciting. It's exciting, particularly during a state of health emergency too. Remember that every business was affected during COVID, and every business was affected differently. And, you know, by virtue of us putting on this seminar, our business has exploded in the last 15 months, the SBDC. It's literally exploded. We've added hundreds of clients and thousands of counseling hours. And we were able to do it without an addition to staff. Yes, we do use some interns. But like you and like the other business owners out there that are in business, they had to retool their business plan when COVID struck. And we, in our house, in our SBDC house, we had to redo our resiliency plan. We're operating in different times, folks. We really, even before COVID, by virtue of the fact that we are geographically separated, it just brings on challenges that other locations don't have. Okay. Again, these questions: how determined am I? Okay. How many employees? We have a really nice tool on our website. By the way, if you haven't been to our website yet, you're going to be impressed. It's completely revamped. It's in the 22nd century, and it's functional and it's friendly. And there's a section on there called resources. On the far right, when you check in there, there are some awesome tools in there. One of them is a list called 20 questions. If you read that list and you don't think something that you've never thought before, please let us know. That you can't read that list and not think about something that needs to be done in your business, or a plan that needs to be put in place before you start your business. Read number 2. How much of my own money? You know, unfortunately, these projects and these beautiful dreams that we come up with take money. And some of the hardest money is startup money. It really is. There are no grants that I know of to start a business. There really aren't. There really aren't. We monitor the grant landscape, the loan landscape, and truth be told, and we'll probably see it later on the slide, but a lot of startup monies, they come from places exactly where you think they would come from. Friends and family. In the last 6 months, we have clients who have literally presented their business plan to their family to fund their startup. Okay, that's where it usually comes from. It's too much of a risk for a bank to do it. It's just too risky. Again, what does it take to become a successful entrepreneur? Again, be honest with yourself and be honest with us when you come in. It's important to know that at the start, we can work more efficiently and we can get you to where you need to be quicker. Okay. Number 12, I can't stress that enough. You know, business is all about setting concrete, quantifiable objectives. Not, I want to have a successful business in 3 years. That's not quantifiable. What's quantifiable is I want to move in 3 years, I want to move my consulting business from my home office to a place on Mid-Island. I want to have a staff of 3. I've delineated their duties. Okay. I intend to be registered in the federal contracting database at year 1. And I intend to take my first federal contract by the start of year 3. And by the way, my revenues are presently at $35,000 my first year in startup. I project that they will go to $70,000 by the end of year 3. Read the 20 questions list. You have to, and read it looking in the mirror. Ask yourself the tough questions. You're getting ready to go into business. Okay. Look through those legal options. This talks about how to structure a business. Okay. And by the way, if you think that's a lot of business structures, they're not even all listed there. I don't see B Corporation on there. So there are many. Okay. So come ask for advice. The basic reason to structure a legal entity mainly is for liability. There are some tax advantages to that as well. Permits, licensing, depending on the type of work that you do, not only will you need a license, but you may need a special technical certification depending on what type of business you're going into. Department of Licensing, Consumer Affairs runs that process. And along those lines, for the folks in this audience that are starting a business, I mentioned the website. I mentioned that far right resource button. Go in there. There is a beautiful it's 2 pages of paper. It's called a checklist for starting a business in the VI. It will save you hours. And by the way, if you do go in there and use that and call the numbers and send emails to the agencies as you embark on getting your business, if you see something on that sheet that is incorrect, an email address, a person has left, the telephone number's changed, send us a text or an email. Let us update that piece of paper. That's a valuable piece of paper. A lot of people ask for that. It's a very good tool. How do I get people to buy? I just think that first line says it all. And to put a little emphasis on that, COVID comes. Picture you're in business, and picture your business as a bricks and mortar. And let's say you're retailing dresses or men's clothing or novelties or whatever. COVID comes. We go through 4+ mandatory extended government shutdowns. Your doors have to be locked. And oh, by the way, in your business planning, we forgot to have that business establish an online presence. Just think of how crushing that is. And that's happened a lot here. If there's one thing we learned about business during COVID, is we got to be on the internet, even if it's an informational website that lists an address, a phone number, and some nice photography of your products, your equipment, a nice little narrative about the owner of the business. I'm going to tell you, it's worth its weight in gold. And by the way, we have in-house resources once you do get your business started to help you with that informational website to make sure you're not behind, so you do have a presence. Check this out. I read this and I continue to hear it and see it. Quote, 95% of a business's customers are outside of the United States. Pretty powerful statement. Business planning. I guess if there's two words that get the biggest reaction, it's the word business plan. Sometimes people freak out. They don't know what it is. They're afraid to write it. We get calls saying, will you write our plan? Let's talk about what a plan is. Earlier, we talked about the feasibility of the project. That's the very start of the plan. Okay, it's the start. You know, one of the first things I like to guide a client in is when they come in to start a business, I ask them, what is your timeline? What's on the far end of the timeline? When do you want to open the doors? And they'll say, okay, 6 months from now. And I'll tell you what, in my sleep, we say, okay, let's pull out a calendar. Let's mark that on the calendar. Now let's back up from that. The week before that, we need to do this, this, and this. And we plan all the way to the present. That's part of a business plan. There's another part too. What if we need resources to launch the business? We know we want to launch in 6 months, but we need money to launch. We need resources. Okay, we're going to write a plan and we're going to go to the bank. It's going to be a rough one because it's a startup. But the exercise of writing a plan to secure funding is something that it's invaluable experience. Think of it like this. Think of it now that your business that you're going to start is a bank. You're going to walk into that bank as the bank president, as the bank owner. You've got all this money to lend. You look outside your door at 8:30 in the morning, and there's a line of people wanting to borrow your money. You got to have a system. You can't take the first 5 and say, okay, we'll lend till the money's out. And I'm going to point back again to our website. There is on that website what's called a business plan outline. When you look at that outline, what you're going to see is a series of questions. Once you've answered all those questions, your business plan is about 80% done. We'll work together to do some financial projections. But, you know, we've been doing this a long time, and we've presented a lot of clients to the bank with plans. We've recorded all the questions that the banks ask. Okay. The whole objective to go in there with a good, solid business plan at the bank is we can anticipate the questions. Let's answer them until there are no questions left. We want that bank to sign us a check. So a business plan, when you talk about you want to secure funding, that's a different animal. That's like the interview of a lifetime for the job of your dreams. You get one shot. The banker is going to ask you questions. He's going to ask you some simple ones, and he's going to ask you some difficult ones. But you're going to have it all covered in that plan. And, you know, just in case the bank has a few questions, we'll be able to answer them because you put so much time in there. But that list of questions to construct the business plan, those are questions that banks have asked when a business plan is presented. So it's valuable. It's on our website too. There's 1,000 different formats for business planning. It just depends. Don't get too hung up on how it looks or how long it is. Get hung up on what is it supposed to be doing for me? What do I want it to do for me? What is its objective? Again, how detailed, it depends. It's just going to depend. It's going to depend. All banks have different requirements. Startups are going to go through a huge, huge scrutiny. As well they should. And the bank learns a lot about the business, and the entrepreneur learns a lot about the business from submitting that plan to the bank as well. You can't go in there half-cocked. You have to know you have to know your market like the back of your hand. You have to know your competitors. Everything they're going to ask. You would ask the same questions if you were in charge of that bank and that was your business. Yeah, we touched on this a little bit before. Personal savings for startups. It's just darn tough. It's tough to fund a startup. Understand that when we work together and you come in with that brilliant business idea and we go through that narrative and make some financial projections to determine that it's feasible, we truly have invested the work and see it as an opportunity. Not so with the banker. The banker doesn't see your idea necessarily as an opportunity. They see it as a risk. Remember, they're lending money. Okay. So that business plan, that person who makes the decision has to be very, very comfortable that your business reduces every thought of risk that the bank has. Okay. It's very, very difficult for a bank to loan for a startup. It's just tough. I personally have never had it done before. Here's a couple sources here. You know, I noticed this crowdfunding has become very big lately too. But I'll tell you, when I look back on my professional life, that friends and family loan and credit card, that's where I was, folks. Man, I was trying to start businesses when interest rates were 18%. I didn't have a chance. I didn't have a chance. Okay. So borrower requirements. Pardon me. Here's something interesting about when you go into business and you want to borrow money. When you go to a bank and ask for a loan for your business, the bank requires 2 forms of collateral. Now remember, collateral is what secures the loan. It can be cash, property, anything of value. But think about this. You're inside of that business plan is in the financials that shows the bank how the business will pay back that loan. My goodness, we would never submit a business plan to the bank if it couldn't pay back the loan. So in the financials, and as you look at, over 3 to 5 or however many years, depending on the volume of money, those financials will show that bank loan being paid back. That's not enough for the bank. They want a second form of collateral for every business loan. The second form of collateral is in the form of, and most banks, the percentages change, but it could be from 20 to 35% down payment, 20 to 30% cash down payment. And then the balance of the loan has to be collateralized. So if you go in to borrow $100, you have to put down 25 cash, but you also have to collateralize $75 more of that loan. The difference between the down payment and that $100. So keep that in mind. It's a tall order for a business, and it's the tallest order for a startup. Okay, these are some of the characteristics that banks look for. Okay, that this should come as absolutely no surprise to you whatsoever. Okay, we would want these same characteristics if the bank was our business. Okay, records, taxes, records. I can't I really can't stress how important good records are in the business. And I don't just mean taxes. But you see, my background as one who bought and sold businesses, the documenting systems and policies and procedures and instructions and operating procedures in a company truly adds value to it. At a minimum, you must have a financial management system. And quite frankly, we get surprised sometimes. We got surprised in January, the SBDC. We were seeing clients, the year had just finished, and the clients there, and we asked them how they did that year. And doggone it, they could not answer the question without having to talk to their accountant. Okay. If you're going to start the business, get control of the business. Do not let your accountant control your business. Let your accountant provide you with some services that you agree to pay for. Preparation of taxes. You'll want to see a monthly profit and loss. But for goodness sakes, that accountant, he works for you. He or she works for you. So we have the responsibility to know what our business is doing. We really should know every penny that's coming in, every penny that's going out. We do that through a record keeping system, and we do it normally on a month-to-month basis and annually. You can see those, just those items there are all financial. So every one of those records has numbers in it. And you know what? They all have to line up. They all have to line up. Five professions are listed here. These are important. This is actually an important slide, believe it or not. Think about it. You go to the bank with a business plan. We would like for you somewhere in that business plan up front, so that the banker can see it, your professional association team. Who is going to be your accountant? For goodness sakes, you haven't even started the business yet, but you've thought through it. Every business needs these things. Okay. A banker, you may need that bank. You're going to have to open up a business account to put the revenues in. Attorneys, insurance agents, other specialists, business specialists. Okay. I'll tell you, the difference between a banker seeing a professional staff on that business plan with names, phone numbers, emails, and addresses, and seeing nothing is a pretty big deviation. So think about that. And these people, they're on your team. You call the shots. Okay. All these folks at some point in time will touch your business. BIR, boy, if you were already in business, and amidst all these COVID resources, you know, all of these COVID resources, as you could imagine, depends on us paying our taxes and being in good standing with our government. So here you see the BIR, okay? And yes, you want folks who are familiar with this. And even more importantly, now that COVID has come, laws are literally being changed as we webinar. If webinar is a verb. But seriously, depreciation laws have changed for business. That's huge. It's huge. They've changed right in the midst of COVID. Why do I say this? Well, there may be advantages for small businesses. Our tax deadline was extended. when we do fill out our taxes, let's make sure when we choose and interview accountants for our startups, let's make sure they are tuned into all the new COVID laws. Things are changing all around us, literally weekly, from a business standpoint. So you don't want to leave any money on the table. If a law is changed that benefits your business from a depreciation standpoint, doggone it, you want your accountant or your bookkeeper to be aware of those. Okay, and honestly, I don't know of any. I will tell you, yesterday afternoon, our program specialist had a client that said that they got free money to start a business. And I was in an engagement, and I told her, I said, look, please, if you can hold that person there, please hold them. I'll be with them. I'd like to talk to them. And I did, I met the person, and there wasn't enough information to substantiate any startup grant or money. But the fact is that it's doggone tough. It's tough. And, you know, we're left when we do a startup to invest in ourselves. So we've got to use every resource available to us. And one of those may not be a bank. We must just keep that in mind. Okay. Okay. Keep systems. If as you go about your efforts in starting your business, you'll talk to those who are already in business. Talk to them about their COVID resource experiences. My goodness, there's so many business records being requested right now because businesses have to document that they spent these certain COVID resources in certain categories in order for them to be forgiven, for example, and turned into a grant. Okay. So it's very, 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 very important to keep business records. Okay. We talked about objectives being concrete. We talked about the fact that when you and I work together, we really see the opportunity. We get excited about it. But man, when we have to go to the bank, we have to really put the smart hat on because they're going to ask us questions. We have to anticipate them and have answers. We have to get that person who's looking at that plan. We have to interest them in our project. It's the only way they're going to take a look. Here are a bunch of websites. We've got more on, we actually have a really nice layout on the SBDC website with our resources. I'm really pleased with our website. It's come a long way. Please utilize it. It's real easy to get to too. It's visbdc.org. Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center.org. Go in there, use those resources. Use those, go back to that resource section, look at that 20 question, especially for you folks out there wanting to start a business. Okay, let's see where we are here. Okay. So we say we begin the plan. Okay. When you get ready to do your business plan, give us a call. Before you call us, go to our website, pull down the outline. Okay, you can actually get started on it. I don't know if, I think it's still in there. There's even a document in there called a business plan cheat sheet. Okay. Look, this stuff doesn't have to be rocket science. It does not have to be rocket science. Okay. So with that, there's a few more resources. Call us. Again, our phones are kind of on the blink. So use that info email. If you want to get a hold of us, let us know you were at the webinar. If you need something, if you're having a problem with something, if you want to set up a meeting with a counselor, If you want to discuss something over the phone, call us. You don't have to go into this thing alone. You just know that assistance is out there, okay? And I thank you for your patience today. I know there's a lot of other things you could have been doing. I also thank you for amidst a state of health emergency to be thinking about how to contribute to this economy by increasing the revenues, by creating jobs, by our own entrepreneurial professional development. I salute you. I salute you. There's not a lot of people who are cut out for that, so to speak. So it's doable. You have to think through it very thoroughly, and we can help. Okay. But it's important. We must have startups. Think about the largest business you know. It most likely started under a carport somewhere. Come on, look at Microsoft. Look at all these companies. You just have to decide what you want to do. And then we just roll up the sleeves, be honest with each other, and set about a good plan to get it done. And that concludes my briefing. What are your questions today of me or the SBDC?
Thank you very much for that information, Greg. Very timely, very to the point and concise. Now, if you folks would like to ask questions on air, you can raise your hand and we will recognize you. Otherwise, you can put your questions in the chat. And while I wait for you to either raise your hand or put your questions in the chat, let me expound on the course that Greg was alluding to, which is the next level business plan writing course, which starts on Wednesday, next week, Wednesday, May the 12th, and runs through Wednesday, July the 14th. And you're going, wow, that's a lot of time. That is exactly 10 weeks of an intense business plan writing course. When you finish this course, you should have a business plan for your startup business, or if you just happen to already be in business, you should have some details in terms of your business plan, how to take your business to the next level. Now, this course, the registration for it ends on Friday, May the 7th, and the fee at this point is $149, and that's less than $15 per course, and per class, sorry. And the class is 3 hours long. So we're talking 30 hours of classroom time with Mr. Darrell Edwards, who's teaching our business plan writing course. So that's a steal of a deal. Okay. I don't see any questions in the chat, Mr. Kopach, and I don't see any raised hands. So I guess that means you were very, very thorough. People have what they need to get started, or at least they have our phone number and our email address so they can register to become a client and get their show on the road.
Thank you, Mary Jo, and thank you all the participants for coming out this afternoon. I can't stress enough, though, you don't have to do all this alone. Somebody has done what you're getting ready to do invariably. So let's work smart. Let's get the SBDC involved. We've got we might be small. We have 8 full-time folks. We cover all 3 islands, but I will tell you, we literally have hundreds of years of experience out there and working with all different types of things, of businesses, and all within those businesses, working with different governments. It's no stranger to us. We liaise with the local government, all the agencies here. It's our job. Okay, we want to make it efficient. We are a federally sanctioned resource, and we're one of 1,000 networks. So please just give us a call. And one more thing, we are in the process of sending out our client survey. And that is, I don't know of internally in-house, I don't know of many more important things for us. Please fill out that survey and please be frank and honest with us. It's what we use to retool our business plan. Okay, we constantly update it like other businesses should do. And customer feedback's important to us. If we need to change course on something, that's how we know how to do it. It's important. Customer feedback is important to us, especially during COVID. COVID really tested us. So please be honest. Everybody, look, we can all stand a little improvement. So let's just be honest with each other, and please fill out one of those surveys and let us know if you need one of those surveys. We will get one to you. So thank you all. Thank you, Mary Jo.
And I have 2 more commercials for you. Tomorrow we have the webinar, Making Your Website Accessible Means Increasing Profits During COVID-19. That's in collaboration with the Disability Rights Center of the Virgin Islands, and that will be at 12 noon. And then on Friday, in collaboration with Safety in Paradise, we will have the National Safety Stand Down Fall Hazard Awareness webinar, and that will be at 10 a.m. on Friday. So go to our Facebook page, go to our website, register for the webinars, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for attending. And on behalf of our State Director, Mr. Ted Gutierrez, and our fabulous staff on St. Croix and St. Thomas, thank you very much. And we will see you mañana.
Thank you all.